Well, hey, everybody. It is 7:02 on a Tuesday night, on a gloomy Tuesday night, that is. This is Mother Theresa coming to you live from Caldwell Manor in the great city of Baytown, Texas. And I just wanted to come and grandstand with you for a little bit. And let's just see what's going on. I can tell you right now, hey Mama and hey Net, I can tell you right now that I do not have anything planned for tonight. I don't have a topic. I don't have anything prepared. So it's just going to be really just grandstanding, just talking about what we're going to talk about. So I can't say I'm going to get off topic because I don't have a topic. So we're just going to talk about the things that have been going on, not just this week, but from the previous week. And we're just going to see what we can just kind of get into tonight. As you are coming in, make sure that you say hi to me so I'll know who's watching. Like my oldest granddaughter, Shekinah. Hey, Kina May. Make sure you tell me that you're on here and that you're watching with me on tonight. Also, if you are not a subscriber, yes, hey, love you, Mama. If you're not a subscriber on any of my channels, please go ahead and become a subscriber. Put those notifications on so that whenever I'm on doing a live, that you will get those notifications and you'll be able to watch me. And not only, and share. I need you to like it. I need you to share it. I'm trying to still get used to all this Facebook, social media jargon, because it is definitely jargon. They say like, share, comment below, subscribe, all of these different things. Sprinkle me. Sprinkle me. I don't know what that means. I hope it's a good thing. Send me some stars. Stars means send me money so I can continue to promote and do what I'm doing on social media. If you want to send me stars, absolutely. You can send me stars. And you can send whatever you want. Also, part of what I do on my Facebook, not my Facebook, my YouTube channel, I have to put a disclaimer out there. And so I let people know how to contact me. You know, if you might want to send me something like a little, I'm not saying you have to, but if you want to, you can send me something. And Ned says, sprinkle me. I don't know what that means. I just hear people say sprinkle me. Now, I probably need to make sure that that means something good or something that's appropriate for the mother to be saying. But I have heard people say something about sprinkle me. So I'm gonna say, Nick, that is your assignment. Find out what sprinkle me means, and so then I can be more informed when I'm saying certain things. But all right, you all, let's get into what we're going to talk about for tonight. I can tell you, hello, Miss Verdun. I can tell you that one of the biggest things that we have been hearing for the last, 48 hours is the solar eclipse. And let me just tell you all, when we were talking, my husband and I were talking about the solar eclipse, he was asking me if I remembered in 1979, I think is when we had the last solar eclipse. And I shared with him that I really couldn't remember a lot about it. In 1979, I was 63. I was probably about 13, 14 years old. Maybe, if I'm doing my math right. If I've got it wrong, But anyway, but I do recall what them saying about the solar eclipse is that we could not look at it face on. You could not just look up at the sky. Hey, Kiki, we could not just look up at the sky because it would damage your eyes. So they gave us these little contraptions. Of course, back then we were not fancy. We didn't have all these little night shades or the shades that they were giving out everybody or selling them to you or whatever. So they didn't have that. But what they did have is a piece of paper that we had to put like a little hole in. And in that, we would have to look at the ground or some kind of way, look at the ground. You couldn't look up, but you had to look at the ground. And for some, however it was supposed to work, the mechanics of it was that we would be able to see or experience the solar eclipse. But let me tell you all, people were traveling from all across the country to be where they could witness this, and where they could be together, and where they could just, this is history. That was history in the making. And so many people wanted to be a part of that. And my thoughts on that is, okay, that's great. That's grand. Matter of fact, we went out from my office and we stepped outside at about 1:40, and we were looking at, just kind of looking. Of course, we didn't look up because we didn't have the proper attire or the proper, gear. Hello there, Ebony. And so we didn't look up, but we did go outside. Of course, the temperatures had changed and everything like that. But this is what this is what I did notice. What I noticed, that most of the people on the news were talking about the closeness and the camaraderie of the people that were gathered together, and how everyone, it was something to bring the community together, or the people together, for a common goal, because they wanted to be a part of this history making event. And not only that, people traveled from far and near to get to different destinations because they wanted to be in the right spot to see it, and to make sure that they had the best, vantage point of being able to witness this. And I thought about that on last night, and I was thinking about, how do we position ourselves, or what if we position ourselves in life as if this was something as major as the solar eclipse? Do we position ourselves in the right places? Do we make sure that we have the best seats available? Would we travel? Would we put in the time, the effort, the money to make sure that we have positioned ourselves in life to have the best advantage point, or have the best advantages that we could have? And not only that, but would we put aside or put as much thought and process into making goals that we have set for ourselves and our families? Will we put that much time and energy into that? And not only that, I'm going to say go a little bit further. Would we put that much time and energy into our families to make sure that our families are good? Do we set aside time to make sure that everything is good in our household, and not necessarily in our household, but especially in our household, but even our extended families? Would we travel for miles, for hours, to make sure that we're going and visiting with those family members who don't live just around the corner? So do we do all of those things? And are we preparing ourselves for Christ's return? I'm gonna just go ahead and put that out there. Are we preparing ourselves for Christ's return the way that they were preparing for the solar eclipse? And so that's something to make you think about. Sometimes we can do things in our lives, and it's just where it has no we don't put as much effort into it. Hello, Aunt Ramona. We don't put much effort into the things that we're doing. But guess what? Things in our lives should be just as important as the solar eclipse. We should put just as much time into preparing for our everyday, daily, whatever we're doing, than those people were doing with this solar eclipse. It also made me think about during the pandemic. You all, that was probably the most scariest time that I have ever had in my life. And if you're with me, go ahead and tell me, yeah, well, during the pandemic, were you afraid? Were you scared? Were you just, really, really praying extra hard that for everything to be well? We were in fear of our lives. This was something that we have never experienced in our lifetime. And I hope and pray that we never do again. But how many of you all were praying extra, doing more praying? How many of you all found yourselves that while you were shut up with your families, that you all were able to, make some connections or get that closeness back with your family that you have probably lost out on? During the pandemic, we probably spent more time with our families. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, terrified. We probably spent more time with our family than we have ever spent before. As a public educator, one of the things that we learned, and Kiki and Ebony, you can vouch for this, and Miss Verdun, for those of you all, us that are in education, one of the things that we came to realize, and the parents of some of these students came to realize, that our kids or their kids are very different children when they're at school versus when they're at home. And I got to know my son on a very different level. I thank God all of it was good and it was, wonderful. I can tell you, I enjoyed being at home during the pandemic. I enjoyed being home with my son. My husband was still having to work, but my son and we were able to really just kind of talk about a lot of things that we may not have had or made the time to talk about had we not been forced to be together 24/7. And of course, we couldn't, at one point, we couldn't go outside. It was like, you don't go outside, you don't do this. And as we kind of went on and on, we were able to go outside, go to the park. We always would go sit outside. I would go sit outside on the back porch and different things like that. But we were finally able to go to the park and do a little bit of things. But it's almost like a gradual release where we were able to then start getting back into our lives as we knew it pre-COVID. But let me just tell you all, yeah, terrified and just terrified is a strong word, and Net, you're absolutely right, because some of us were so terrified, and we were just at the point where even if we did not necessarily want to take the vaccine, because we were terrified that we may lose our lives, we took that vaccine. And let me just tell you all, for everybody who took the vaccine, everybody did what they felt like they needed to do. I took it. My son was absolutely like, nope, I'm not taking this vaccine. And he never did take it. And we had to be okay with that. Initially, I can tell you that I wasn't. My husband and I, we both took the vaccine, and we were trying to convince my son because we just thought that was going to, be a matter of life and death. And if he didn't take it, whatever. But he stood firm, and he was like, Mama, I'm not taking this vaccine. Y'all really don't know what's in it. It's supposed to help save lives, but it may be some long-term effects on it. It took it didn't take them long enough to make it. And so all of those different things, which he was right. And because we did have doubts about the vaccine, but we took it anyway. So how many of us have faith like that in first of all, in ourselves, that listen, that if I say I'm going to do something, that I'm going to go ahead and do it. How many of us have faith in God like that, because that's what faith is all about, is stepping out there when you don't know what the outcome or what the future will be. You just take a leap of faith. But it's so many different things, but that, like I was saying, when I was thinking about the eclipse, that really reminded me, hello there, Miss Alicia, it really reminded me of the time that we were shut up in our homes. And one of the things that, as the people were saying on the news, is how they felt that connectedness, they felt close to the people that were there with them, and how so many people talked about, it being, hello there, let me see, it says Alvin Kennedy. I don't know if this is Alvin Kennedy Jr. or Senior. I'm assuming it's Junior. So hello there, Donnell. But so many people were talking about, just the being able to witness that. And it was a great thing if you were able to witness it and be able to see something that some of us will never ever see in our lifetimes again. We'll never be able to see that again. If we live to be, my husband and I, we were looking at it, if we live to be 81, and I pray to God we do, I think that's when the next eclipse will be, because I think it's going to be in 2044 or something like that. But that was an experience that many people will be able to tell their children about. They'll be able to tell their grandchildren. Ramona said it was amazing. So you all probably had a great view of it in Dallas, where, and let me just say this. The thing about it is, when you think about how magnificent that whole experience had to have been, is that it's daylight. It's fully daylight. And then all of a sudden it's dark. And then all of a sudden it's daylight again. What my understanding is that the animals were even confused. The animals were confused. The birds, and I didn't realize that birds do not fly at nighttime. My husband was telling me this. And so just think about the confusion for those birds who were flying or mid-flight, and then all of a sudden it's dark. It was so dark in our area. I say it wasn't really dark, like probably what Ramona saw, but our lights at the post office automatically came on because of because it was getting dark. But let me just tell you again, like I said, it was such an amazing thing. And I'm not discounting it, because when you think about the different things that God allows us to witness in our lifetimes, we have to take it and say that the birds stopped chirping. Wow. I hadn't heard that, that the birds stopped chirping. What else did y'all notice? Or what else did they talk about, or they say that happened during this solar eclipse? I understand that there were airplanes that were following the line of the solar eclipse, or that there were certain flights that people had purchased that were following it, and that was their sole purpose, of to be in the air to experience that. That's an amazing thing, you all. But it's also, to me, that's a scary thing. But that's an amazing thing, that the people were able to be in the air and they are trailing that as it's happening. And so again, what else did I miss? What else are some of the things that happened during the solar eclipse? And let me just tell y'all, for those that had a chance to witness it, you witnessed history in the making. You all definitely did. And again, this is stuff that nighttime in the daytime, it was so still. The news said that the ants stopped crawling. Wow. The ants even stopped crawling. It was just, it was, to me, it's just mind boggling, and I'm not a person who gets caught up into all of that, but it's amazing what was happening yesterday, or what happened yesterday was definitely something to really think about. And for those, again, that had an opportunity to witness it, it is something. What a revelation. Yeah, absolutely. When you start thinking about this, and you start thinking about all the different tie-ins, and I know we have a lot of believers on here. So as you begin to think about all the different things of the biblical side of it, that's something that really makes you think about the power of God. Oh my gosh, the power of God to allow something like that to happen. And, for the people who believe that all of this was created by the Big Bang Theory, and that a man created all of this, there is no man ever that will have this much power to be able to do what we witnessed on yesterday. And so the animals at the zoo in Dallas were scared and went running for shelter. Wow. Yes. Well, you think about it. All of a sudden, you know that, for us as humans, we know that all of a sudden, if it's complete daylight and then all of a sudden it's dark. First thing we're gonna think, oh, okay, is God is, he's returning, but it's going to make you scared. It's going to make you afraid of what is happening. What is happening? What is this shift all about? And I also understand that, of course, I was saying that it's a rainy, kind of a muggy. I like to say muggy, but it's kind of outside. It's still kind of dark. The wind is blowing. The temperatures have definitely changed since yesterday. And so one of the things, I wondered why a lot of people got married on that day. I think Miss Verdun, it was because it's symbolic. It had to be because of, they will always remember that they got married on the day that they had the solar eclipse. And so I think it was just a symbolic thing, because a lot of people were got married on yesterday. And so, and you want to do things that you can remember those certain things by. And so that was a great opportunity for them to do that. I was listening to someone, and they were saying that they had been preparing for this solar eclipse for the last 18 months. And so probably even longer than that, but they have been preparing for this. And so a lot of money was spent yesterday on a lot of different things. Different small towns were inundated with tons of people, hundreds of thousands of people that wanted to be at the right place. A lady named her baby Solar, per the news. I can imagine there's probably going to be a lot of solar babies named Solar, or something that had to do with the solar eclipse. One of the things, hey, Veronica, I noticed that at one of our campuses at Bowie, where Dr. Sims is principal, they provided some different snacks for their staff. And some of the snacks that they had was sun-kissed drinks, Sunny D. I think she had Star Crunch, Mars Candy Bar, different things that had that was that type of, the theme that had something to do with that. And I think it was just a fun day for the kids. As I was driving around in Baytown from campus to campus yesterday, I saw so many, hello Amanda, I saw so many kids that were, and staff members that were standing outside, with their glasses on, and they were observing the solar eclipse. So they were doing that at the elementary schools, all the way up to the high schools. And even some of the staff members, like I said, when I made it back to my office, hello, Sister Sherry. I was just talking about your campus, Sister Sherry, of y'all different snacks that were either star or solar themed. Since I was just sharing with you all, with everybody, about some of the things that you all had. But so many of the people, like I said, that were standing outside, the adults, and some of the schools, guess what? Some of the schools even were dismissed on yesterday. They didn't have school yesterday because they wanted to make sure that the people were able to experience, for some, it's this once in a lifetime opportunity to be able to see this. Sister Sherry said it was awesome. Yeah. And so the things that we sometimes take for granted, that it is things that is just like everyday occurrences. When we think about this life and we think about the things that we endure and the things that we go through and the things that we experience, you all, life is just so whatever, because I say awesome. I say whatever, I say awesome also, because sometimes we have to take, this yesterday was a big thing. But sometimes we have to take those little bitty things that sometimes can seem so insignificant, and we have to treat them like they're a big thing. We have to treat some of the smaller things just like they're just magnificent. And it's all in what you make of it. The little things that we celebrate in our lives, we can leave them little and we can make them small. But who says you have to? You don't necessarily have to. You can take those things and you can make them big. Some people were feeling sick, getting sleepy. I felt a little dizzy. It stormed so bad last night and it was very scary. Yes. I want to say, and I'm going to jump off of what I was just saying, but Ramona, you said something that yesterday when Dr. Remnick and I stepped outside to take a look around and whatever, as soon as we walked back in the building, she said, I'm sleepy. All of a sudden, she was just sleepy. And so one of the things that I also, hello there, my friend, Sister Linda. One of the other things that I also heard, they were saying that because the atmosphere, our body does something totally different. Our body is wired for at nighttime, we go to sleep. Okay. So you had this quick thing where all of a sudden it was a darkness. And so our body is just like responding to that. Now, I'm not a science person, but I can just kind of tell you a little bit of what I do know. But I also understand that until May 16th, that the atmosphere has shifted a little bit. And so until May 16th, you're going to have some remnants of whatever it is that's going on. Hey, my sister Annie, you're going to have some remnants of all of this until after that time. So I'm not sure. Hello, Ivory, Sister Ivory. Ramona said that makes a lot of sense. And it does. You think about it. When our body gets adjusted to the daylight, to the darkness, is our body says it's time to go to bed. It's time to go to sleep. So immediately, we went from this just quick, hello there, my cousin OD. We went from daylight to dark and and then back to daylight. So our body was just kind of out of kilter. When you think about that, yeah, to me, it makes sense as well. So I'm quite sure there is a lot of other theories and lots of other people that the scientists they know what all these different changes that happened in the atmosphere on yesterday. But again, I go back to saying that it doesn't necessarily have to be the big things in life that we celebrate. We can celebrate the little bitty things and make them just as big. And let me just tell you, it is nothing like turning a little celebration into a big celebration, because we are making memories. I say this all the time. We are making memories that should last. It'll last our lifetime, but then it may last beyond that. And I'm just thinking, we only have one life. We might as well enjoy it, make the most of it. And one of the people that's on here is Miss Verdun. And I often think about Miss Verdun, and she has retired from education as a principal. And Miss Verdun, I love how you are living life. And the thing about it is that when you retire, it's not time to sit down and not do anything. For those that have been busy, that enjoy living life, basically, it's time to really live life. You think about it. We work for 40 years or however many years that we work, and then we retire, and then it's like, what are you going to do? For those that have been busy, you keep doing. If you're able to travel, get out there and travel. If you're able to, spend time with family and friends and your loved ones, and do those things that you haven't been able to do because you were working, make sure that you are enjoying life, because just like that eclipse, it was brief. I mean, it didn't stay dark for hours. It was just like it came and it went. Okay. And so now we're talking about it on the other side. So, enjoy life, do those things that make you feel good. And I say that, and when I say make you feel good, I'm not talking about anything that's reckless. I'm just saying enjoy life. When I talk about grandstanding, hello, Tamara. When I talk about grandstanding, I am talking about enjoying life. And grandstanding is just what I do to talk about different things and to just share good news and to share some encouragement and to hopefully give you some conversations that'll make you think, and also make you think that how can you do things that may be a little bit different, or how to keep doing exactly what you're doing. Because sometimes there doesn't necessarily need to be changes that we're doing in our lives. Sometimes the things that we're doing, we just need to do them more. Hello there, Sister Andrea. We just need to do them more. We need to just hang in there and just enjoy what we're doing. And while you're doing that, bring along some friends with you. Bring along some loved ones with you. My graduate professor at SFA told the class, do not wait until you retire to enjoy your life. Make every day count. Hold on, let me see what it says. I literally took it serious. Yes, you did. Yes, you do. And that's exactly, I agree with it. Do not wait until you retire to enjoy your life. Because sometimes some of us are sickly. Sometimes when we retire, we're in a situation where we can't do anything. We cannot enjoy ourselves. We cannot go on the cruises. We cannot jump on a plane and go here or there. We cannot go out and do the things that we want to do, because our body is not at that point that we can do those things. So you might as well do it all throughout your life. And I'm not saying live a careless life. I am not advocating that at all. I'm saying live a well-lived life. And have no regrets when we leave from here. Have no regrets. There are certain things that some of us want to experience, some of the things that we've been putting off doing. And we're saying, well, I'm going to wait till I retire. I'm going to wait till I do this. I'm going to wait till I get a little bit more money. I'm going to wait to this. Like Ned said, balance. And Tamara said, amen. We have got to make sure that we are taking advantage of every single moment that we have. And if you're taking advantage of every single moment that you have, then there are no regrets. You don't have time for that. And again, I'll go back and say, I'm not saying just live carelessly and recklessly. No, I'm saying make plans to enjoy yourself, carry out those plans. And it doesn't always necessarily mean that you're I said jumping on a plane or going on a cruise. Sometimes it's not that. Sometimes it's just spending quality time. It may be like, I love sitting on my back porch, but I also like to travel. So sometimes when I can't travel, I can go to my back porch and I can sit and I can enjoy just being outside. And the last couple of days have been just beautiful outside. The weather has been wonderful. So that's good back porch sitting. And so in doing those things, one of the other things that I noticed that my brother-in-law, he's been sharing different pictures of his garden and the greens and the different things. OD, I hope you saw those pictures that Keith had posted about the collard greens that he picked from his garden. That is something that he enjoys doing. Is it hard work? Absolutely. But he enjoys doing that, so he's doing that. And that is something that is, of course, is costing him time and is costing him energy and, of course, a little bit of money to plant the seeds. But that is something that you can do that does not cost a lot of money. A lot of people love to read, just having an opportunity or a space to just curl up with a good book and to just sit somewhere and read. That's great. Do that. Do whatever you need to do. My husband and I, who will be celebrating our 40th anniversary on Saturday. Yes, that's a long time. We used to enjoy just going on a Friday night and going to Sylvan Beach. And we would take our lawn chairs out there and we would just go and watch the sunset. We would do that on a Friday night. And then afterwards, we would go and have dinner somewhere. And that was our Friday nights. Now, we haven't been able to do it, or we haven't did it probably since the summer. But it's time to get back to doing that. And it's those little things, thank you all, it's those little things that means so much. And like I said, you can take those little things, those little bitty things in life, and you can make them so very special. So the things that you're doing, like I said, some of you all probably need to step up your game, and I'm talking to me as well. But then others are doing those things, and you're doing exactly what you need to be doing. But if you find yourself not necessarily doing the things that you want to be doing, it's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, Mother Teresa said to step it up a little bit, enjoy life. And all I can tell you is that when you do, don't have any regrets. Don't look back. Don't look back and say, I should have did this, or I wish I could have done that. And sometimes it does take, if it does cost you money, and if you don't have the money, start planning, start saving. And guess what? We can trim a lot of different things out of our budgets. I realize that I spend way more money doing certain things, and I can take those certain things and put that stuff aside, and I can put away a little bit of money. My son and I, we love to thrift shop. And at one point, we were thrift shopping every week. Every weekend, it was like, okay, let's go to the thrift shop. And I'm buying stuff, and we're not spending a whole lot of money. I enjoy doing that. But then also there were some other things that I knew that I needed to be putting that money aside because I had another goal. And so what I did is I shifted a little bit. I don't go as often, but I shifted a little bit and started putting some money aside for some things that I really wanted to be able to purchase. And so sometimes in doing the things that we enjoy doing, you have to make some sacrifices and you have to shift a little bit. And there is nothing wrong with shifting, okay? Listen, you all, I know I've been talking longer than what I normally do. First of all, my husband is working late tonight, so he's not here to say, honey, it's 7:30, it's time to get off. But I have enjoyed grandstanding with you all on tonight. And again, I appreciate everyone that has joined me. And I just challenge you all to take the eclipse, the solar eclipse, as an example for the rest of your week and think about everything that the people said that it was, and how grand it was, and how the people have talked about the different things that it caused, the shift in the atmosphere and all of those different things. It says, Amanda said, the eclipse was amazing. Everyone just stopped and enjoyed nature, connecting with the body, soul, and one another. God's great reminder, and your words to live, step up and enjoy each moment. Speak to my heart, so wise. Oh, thank you, Amanda. Listen, that's what this is all about, Amanda. What I do know is that as I was sharing with them earlier about the eclipse, is that it reminded me so much of our time during COVID and how we reconnected with the people in our lives, and how God had kind of isolated or caused us to isolate and really get back to the basics of connecting with each other and loving one another and just being there, really going back to the way that things were ordained to be. And sometimes God has to remind us in the simple things in life. I say the simple things. He has to remind us. Sometimes it takes those big things like COVID and the pandemic and the solar eclipse for us to be able to take a look and say, hey, let's step back. Let's step back and let's take a good look at what's going on in my life. Let me step back and take a good look at what's going on in this world. And also, if I need to make some changes, let me make those changes, because we all know that one of the things that God put us here on this earth for is to, first of all, be a help and an encourager to one another. And not only do that, of course, we know our main focus is to praise God and to represent him well. But how do you represent him well? How do you know that what you have been called to do, that you're actually doing it? And sometimes we have to reevaluate what's happening in our lives, and we have to step back and we have to say, okay, let me take an assessment of the things that I know that I'm doing now versus the things that I know that I should be doing or I could be doing. And so, and when you take that assessment of your life and you realize that, hey, I can be doing a little bit more, I could be doing a whole lot more, then you make those changes. You make those changes. And so I say all that to say this, that when you find your purpose, you need to walk in it. And sometimes we can get sidetracked by all the distractions in the world. and we are in our everyday lives. And some things are put in our path to be a distraction. It's put in our lives to try to deter us, to keep us from what we know that we have been called to do. I truly believe that each and every one of us has a call or on their life that God has given them to do. And nobody can do that but you. Nobody can do the things that God has called you to do. And I'm not being preachy, but I'm just sharing what I'm sharing because, like they say, what's in you will come out. But I also realized that what I was saying, what I'm saying, is that this is what God called me to do. And I want to be guilty doing what he has called me to do. And so should each and of you. You should be want to be found guilty doing the things, whatever that thing may be, because your thing is going to look different than my thing. We have people that are called to just be an encouragement to other people. We have other people that are called to pray for people. We have other people that are called to be nice, to always have a smile, because that smile on your face makes the difference in the people that you're coming in contact with. We have other people that are made to be those that person for children. We have, hello, Sister Ariel. We have other people that are called to be that person in your community where I think about my brother, Jimmy, who's no longer with us. But I know for a fact that I believe that Jimmy's call was to feed his community. And Jimmy didn't have a restaurant. Jimmy did not have he wasn't a licensed chef. He was not a person who had went to school to learn how to cook. He didn't have any of those things. But one thing that he did have, he had a love for people. He had a love for his community. And when he cooked, when he would start that barbecue pit up or that fish fry thing up, that was one of the things that he was going to do. He was going to feed the people in his community. And he probably fed so many people that didn't know anything else about Jimmy other than the fact that he was going to feed the people. And when he passed away, that was one of the things that I heard so much about him feeding people. How he never asked them for anything. Yes, he did sell, plate lunches and different things like that. But I'm quite sure he gave away probably way more than he could have ever sold. And so, and that was his gift to his community. That is what he is going to be. That's what he's known for, And I have a brother who is, he had his restaurant. He has a food truck and all of that. But one of the things about Jimmy just did it wherever he could find a place, and he just took care of the people. He just took care of the people, and he loved the people. And most of the time you saw him, he had a smile on his face. He was always, that big brother that we knew that was going to take care of his community. We laugh about it now, but, we would have family reunions or we would have birthday parties for my mom. And after a while, we would see strange faces that we've never seen before, but they knew Jimmy was cooking. And so they would come from across town. They would find their way over and he would feed them. He would just feed them. And so how many people do you know that is using their gift, their God-given gifts and talents to affect the change of lives like he did, and like so many of you all are doing? And so I would just say, listen, live this life, do the very best. He sure did smile all the time. Yes, he did, Aunt Ramona. Always had a smile. Hello, my Betty. Betty is my sister, but we're definitely family. And I think back about, like I said, using our gifts and our talents to make sure that we're doing what we've been called to do. Sometimes people will say, I don't know my gift. I don't know the call. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. But just what are some of the things that you would do, and you do it well, you do it without any effort. And people say, if you want to know your passion, Think about what is that one thing that you would do even if no one paid you to do it. When you find that one thing that you would do every single day, that if even if no one paid you to do it, you would still continue to do it. I'm quite sure you'll find your passion. And most of the time, whenever we find out what our passion is, that is what brings us in revenue. Okay, that's usually, if we can do that, that's what brings us in revenue. Now, I didn't say it's going to make you rich, but it can bring you revenue, and sometimes it might even make you rich. But find that thing that God has called you to do, and you need to find yourself doing it, and doing it as often as you can. You know, one of the things I was listening, yes, we are family, absolutely. One of the things that I was listening to a couple of days ago, it was I listened to Joel Osteen. Typically that's what my radio station stays on. And this one guy was sharing, he said God had told him to go and take two brand new pair of shoes to the shelter. And he said, and he just didn't want to do it. They were brand new tennis shoes, and he just did not think that that's what he should be doing. And he said, but eventually, of course, he did that. Yes, I love him too. He took the shoes to the shelter. So sometimes when I talk about finding your passion and finding what you need to be doing, some of us have things in our closet that's sitting in our closet that is the answer to somebody's prayer. They've been praying about having a black pair of pants, a nice shirt, a nice blazer, a nice dress, but they can't afford it. But it's sitting in your closet and you haven't worn it. It's probably still have the tags on it. You bought it 3 years ago saying, oh, I'm going to wear it eventually or whatever. It's still sitting there. Some of us have furniture in our homes or in our garages that has just been sitting there gathering dust. Guess what? That's the answer to somebody's prayer. They need a living room set. They need a dining room set. And guess what? It's sitting out in your garage, or you're paying to have it stored in a storage. Get the stuff out of storage and be a blessing to somebody. Because guess what? If you do that, well, I often say a lot of times when you are discarding stuff or you're taking things out, and I'm not just saying always give people your leftovers, because, a lot of time God will tell you, hey, I don't need you to go and give something that's in your closet or that is used. I need you to go to the store or take this sister or this brother or their family to the store, and I need you to bless the entire family. Or I need you to go into the store and buy this, or I need you to go and give this person some money so that they can purchase the things that they want. But I'm talking about sometimes the excess that we have. Sometimes the excess things that we are sitting on is the blessing that someone has been praying, or the answer to somebody's prayer, and it becomes a blessing for them. And not only is it a blessing for them, but it is actually a blessing for you. Because what better feeling than that I would say that I've experienced when I know that I have been a blessing to someone who maybe didn't have the means to do it. And let me just tell you, sometimes he doesn't always call upon us to be a blessing to somebody who is without, or what we think are less fortunate. Sometimes God will call upon you to be a blessing to those who are well able to go out and purchase what they want. Sometimes he will cause you to be a blessing to those who look like they've got it all going on, who has money in the bank, who's dressing nice or whatever. But sometimes what they need is for somebody to reach out to them and show them that they care. And sometimes by the caring, our abundance is someone's blessing. You're absolutely right, Sister Sherry. Sometimes the person who we think has everything, sometimes what they need is somebody to show them an act of kindness. And sometimes being able to share what we have with someone who has it all, or what we think has it all, speaks volumes. Okay? It speaks volumes. And let me just say this in closing, because Have you been peeping in my closet? Hey, I just say what God tells me to say. But hey, if you've got some things in that closet, Auntie, go ahead and donate that stuff. Go ahead and donate it and get rid of it. Because let me tell you, a lot of times when we empty out, that's when God fills us back up. Okay. In more ways than one. In more ways than one. Um, I heard this um this was shared a long time ago with me in one of my classes, and it was called Stuff. And it was talking about all the stuff that we accumulate. We have stuff, we have a lot of excess baggage. And not only the excess, I'm so guilty of the closet. Okay, Miss Verdon. All right, you need to get those pretty things out of that closet and go ahead and share them with someone. Because we are a society of excess, and so we like the things that we like, and so when a lot of times, and I am so guilty, I share with my family, and I've said this many times, that sometimes I will go into the store. I don't do it as much now because I don't do a lot of shopping in the stores since COVID. I'm still kind of, I keep my distance. I still do my grocery shopping online, and if I don't necessarily have to get out and get into the store, I don't necessarily do that. But I am so guilty. I can recall a time that I would go into a store, and if they had something on sale, and if I would buy one of every color of it. And I just did that. And I don't know if it was because, maybe at one time I couldn't afford to do it and now I can. I would buy like one color of a lot of different things, but I also knew that I was going to be putting it in my treasure chest because I could then gift it to other people. And so, but I would buy lots of stuff, and I would always have lots of stuff. I can probably go now into certain rooms where I keep, certain gifts, and I could have enough stuff that I could just give gifts and give gifts and give gifts, because of the excess. That's the excess, and I don't feel bad about it because I know I'm going to give it away. A lot of times I'll go into places like Hobby Lobby and different things. Hello, I can't pronounce your first name, but the last name is Sweat, so that means we're cousins. I will go into different places like Hobby Lobby when they're having like that 90% off sale, and I would buy all kinds of stuff. And I would just take it and put it in my little treasure box because I knew my sisters were having birthdays, my brothers were having birthdays, Christmas was coming, Mother's Day, all of those different things. And I would be able to go to my treasure box. And my sister Grace does the same thing. We would be able to go to our treasure box. I'm not sure, Sid, you may do the same thing too. But we could go to our treasure box and we have gifts for everybody. One of the things that my sister Grace did for this Christmas, and my mom used to do it years and years ago, they would bring at Christmas time, they would bring a big box full of all kinds of things. And they would just set it in the middle of the floor. And people could go through the box and get whatever you wanted out of the box. And it would be really nice things. Sometimes it was, crystal and just, nice pillows. My mom loved buying those nice pillows from JCPenney, these big, nice, fluffy pillows. It may be towels. It may be jewelry, all kinds of things. And so this year, Grace brought in the big box. And so, she did this during, I think, my mom's birthday. And so there were nice hats in there, just when I say all kinds of things, I picked up a couple of things out of there, and it's the excess. And remember how I said sharing from your excess. And sometimes and that's a little thing, but it means so much for the people being able to dig in that box. Listen, you all, I have talked about a whole lot of stuff on tonight, and I think I was trying to go somewhere talking about something. But listen, I have enjoyed you all on tonight, and I hope that I have said something that has been a word of encouragement to you all. For those who have joined us for the very first time and you haven't been with us before, always make it a point to be with us on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock. I try to stay on for about 30 minutes to just come on and to just kind of grandstand with you all. Grandstanding just simply means I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. Something that God had given me over a year or so ago, and I put it off because I wasn't quite sure of how to do what I was doing. I didn't necessarily know what I was going to talk about. I didn't know the social media platforms. I didn't know any of that stuff. But God said, I need you to do grandstanding with Mother Theresa and just get on here and talk. Just get on here and talk. And I have been obedient. And so this is what I'm doing. So if I have 2, if I have 22, if I have 2002, I'm going to still come on and I'm going to talk and I'm just going to say whatever God gives me to say. And I'm hoping that because I am following his rule, that it will be a blessing to someone. And so, and as we are leaving on tonight, for those that came on and it is your first time, don't be a stranger. Come back and be with us on next time. And I would just like to say good night, everybody. I have enjoyed you so very much. Y'all come back and be with us. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.